What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fight House. We're back, episode 4. We're coming with 3 good guests. It's me, Jason Sutcliffe.
And Tristan Keddy.
All right, let's get it. First up, we're going to have Eryk Anders. We're going to follow that up with Brendan Allen and close out the show with Trevin Giles. So we got three of the best middleweights in the division for LFA. We're going to get them all on here. We're going to find out what's going on in that middleweight division, get to the bottom of this. It's going to be a good night. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Eryk Anders.
Anders too powerful on top here. Not shy about posturing up, lowering the boom. Here's the very end here. Referee's had enough.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back. We're live. We have Eryk Anders on the line. Eryk, I want to thank you for coming to the Fight House, man. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, appreciate you guys for having me.
Yeah, man. So how's everything been? How's everything going?
Man, can't complain. Just hopped off the mat, doing a little training. Come talk to you fine, gentlemen.
Ah, nice, man. Well, we're glad to have you, man. You're coming off. You had a really good debut with LFA. Couldn't have gone any smoother than it did. What did you think about the debut? Was it everything you thought it was going to be? Did it go the way you wanted?
I think anytime you can go in there and get a first-round victory, a TKO, finish a guy without taking any damage at all, I think that's a pretty good showing. So I think I did really well with my showing, and waiting on the next one now.
Well, what is the next one? Do you got anything planned? Anything coming forward? What's next?
Man, I've been offered that Brendan Allen fight. We're just waiting on contracts and everything to be finalized, and that one should be a go.
Oh, you're gonna end up in the cage with Brendan.
Yes, sir.
Nah.
I mean, like I said, we're waiting on contracts and stuff like that. But as soon as it comes to me, it'll be signed, sealed, and delivered within 24 hours. So it'll be on him to sign the contract as well.
Ooh. What's that one? Is that going to be just a fight? Is that going to be for? Because I know there's only a handful of you guys sitting right at the top of the division right now as middleweights. There's you, Giles, Brendan Allen, and Ian from the other side there. He fights this Friday. What is this going to be for a title? What is it going to be, a contender fight?
Nothing official yet. Hopefully that belt will be on the line, and I'm quite confident I'll walk away with that belt around my strap if it's for the belt.
That's a real good fight, man. That's a real step up in competition for you. Brendan's 7-1. His only loss coming to Trevin Giles. How do you feel like you match up with him in that fight?
I feel like I match up very well with Brendan Allen. I think he's a bit stiff, not very explosive, slow twitch, has a soft body. Skilled opponent, don't get me wrong, but I think I come out of there with another first-round victory.
It's kind of, he's got a lot more experience than you do. I think in the cage, if you include his amateur experience, I think he's got something like 13 or 14 amateur fights. Do you believe that, obviously, I mean, you believe you're going to win, but is it your athleticism you think is going to take you over the top? Because he's probably got a little bit more experience as far as like his MMA training.
Well, man, I had 23 amateur fights.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and 7 professional fights.
Right.
So, yeah, he may have been doing it longer, but as far as cage experience and cage time goes, I'm definitely have more than him. So, and a lot of my matches and fights and whatnot, and early. Not too many even go to a decision. So,
true story.
Like I said, I'm to keep that track alive and give me another victory.
I apologize for not knowing that stat, man. I usually use Tapology,
No worries.
and they didn't have that up there, so I apologize for that. But, yeah, it's one I'm really looking forward to. How do you see it ending? Like, do you feel like that's another early night for you, or are you feel it could go the distance?
I believe Brendan Allen will be my first real, knockout, go stiff, go limp knockout. I'm not really looking to go in there and get it. I'll take a victory any way I can get it. Submission, TKO, but with the way he stands and fights, I believe that he's not going to be able to take too many to the face, and believe that he'll be knocked out in the first round.
I've talked to him before, and he didn't hold your skill in much regard. Do you think that could be a downfall for him?
I mean, that's on him. How he prepares for a fight is how he's going to prepare for this fight. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I know that I'm preparing for him as though he's the best in the world. So he better be ready to come fight time.
Have you had your eye on him for a while? Because I remember you guys had a little interaction on Twitter there maybe like a month ago, maybe a little longer than a month ago. Is this a guy that you've had your eye on for a while?
Man, I don't have my eyes on anybody, just on the next guy. So when whoever's name comes across on that contract, that's who I got on my mind. And there really wasn't much of a Twitter beef or whatever. I said that I wanted that I got to get in line. I guess, he's the next one in line. So, like I said, I wanted to fight for the belt. Hopefully we're fighting for the belt. And, looking to walk away with the belt around my waist.
It's an interesting time to be a middleweight right now, especially because you also have the tough tryouts coming up. I think they're like May 23rd or something like that. Is that something you'll be considering?
Yeah, I'm considering it. Just kind of weighing my options, see which one's a better opportunity for me. Not out of the question, but I'm really looking forward to stepping in that cage. Hopefully in my home state of Texas. So we'll see.
What one's the better opportunity for you as far as you're concerned? The title fight or the opportunity at the Tough House?
Man, I think they're both excellent opportunities.
Sure.
Usually the title holders for Legacy make their way onto the UFC.
Definitely.
I think there'll be a little bit more work involved with, the Ultimate Fighter. I have to fight 3 times or a few times, however many times. I have to cut weight a bunch of times. But I think the overall experience will be really fun and really something that I would look forward to doing. So, like I said, me, my manager, Jason House, and my head coach, Chris Tomlin, are kind of at the round table right now, kind of trying to figure out what's the best opportunity and which one makes the most sense for us.
Are they both?
Sorry, go. Both.
Sorry?
And maybe possibly both.
Yeah, because I think. When would they be targeting a fight with you and Brendan?
Hopefully in June.
June.
Yeah, I think the tryouts are in May, and then sometime in June, hopefully me and Brendan can get in there and do the dance.
Nice. Were you surprised when it came up as Brendan being the option and not like Trevin Giles, for instance, who's 9-0, finished 8 guys? Like, it was kind of thought for a long time that he would just kind of dance. He was kind of the for sure thing for the vacant title, and then his contender was kind of up for grabs.
Like I said, I'm not really concerned with whose name comes across on that contract. I'm signing contracts with anybody's name on it, so it really doesn't matter to me. Trevin Giles, Brendan Allen, that Ian guy that you mentioned earlier, it's totally irrelevant to me. Anybody who comes across, anybody who gets offered to me, that's all I do is sign contracts. So, definitely. That.
I like it. When you're obviously now, it seems as though anyway, like you're a matter of a step regardless of which direction that goes away from the UFC. Is that something you got your eye on? Is like how are you feeling about that as it kind of gets a little bit closer, as that vision becomes a little bit more tangible?
Yeah, the UFC is the pinnacle of the sport. A lot of people they come to me and say, "Oh, you do that UFC fighting." But the best analogy that I can use is that the UFC is the NFL of MMA. So if MMA is the sport, then the UFC is the highest that you can go. I look to get in there sooner or later. I just feel like I won't be able to be denied with my record. My opponents are getting better. I'm still going to be finishing people. So eventually they're not going to be able to say no, and I'll get my opportunity.
Sometimes I feel like the explosiveness and athleticism is kind of looked past a little bit. You aren't the first guy to make the transition over from high-level football into MMA. How do you feel like those skills translate? What is it about them that translates so well into the cage?
Well, man, my whole life I've been developing short area quickness, explosive, powerful movement, moving guys in and out. I think they translate, relatively well. And, that's not the only thing I rely on. I just don't go out there and out-athleticize people. I go in there. The thing in my game that I think people underestimate and don't realize is accuracy. I don't throw a lot of my punches that I throw don't miss. A lot of them are left hands, and if that left hand hits you too many times or even once, that could be the end of your night.
Is that how you kind of see things going with Brendan? You feel like he's not going to be able to take that shot once you land it?
No, he's definitely not going to be able to take that. Not with the chin he has. I'm not sure if his chin's been tested, but he fights with his chin up, his chin out, too much space in between his hands. So he's got a lot of stuff to correct before he gets in there with me if he wants the chin.
When you look at his skill set, is there anything that you're more leery of than something else, or something you're like, okay, I got to keep my eye on that, like he does that really well? Or what is it about his game that you think kind of poses the challenge for you?
Man, I don't think it's any secret that the best skill set that he has is his ground game, his submission game. I'm not really sure. I think he's 6-1, 6-1, right? 7-1?
Yes, 7-1.
And a lot of those, I know I've seen him fight as an amateur as well. He likes that rear naked choke a lot. So I'm quite comfortable on the ground with anybody. So, like I said, I think I have a better skill set there as well.
What do you think that he's going to I mean, you talked about people underestimating your accuracy, but is there a quality that you possess that you feel like he's not going to have a full grasp of until he gets in there and then he's going to realize?
I'm very patient. I wait for my opportunity and I take advantage of it. He's a little emotional. He gets hit. He's going to shake his head, let you know that you didn't do any damage, which lets me know that it hurt. You know, so
they always say that.
Take his head off once. He's going to get emotional. As soon as he gets touched, he'll start charging in and whatnot, trying to get it to the ground. But I'm going to be ready for all that.
Is that going to be a plan of yours to try to exploit? Like, I mean, obviously you don't want to give me too much of your game plan, but is that going to be a bit of your plan to just exploit that that lack of patience, that emotional involvement?
You know, I really don't have game plans when I get in there. I kind of shut the brain off and just react and take what he gives me. He gives a lot, so there'll be plenty on the table for me to take advantage of.
And you know, if you decide to go the tough route, is living in a house with 16 dudes, does that kind of how are you going to be able to handle that mentally? Like you said, there's a lot of weight cuts involved and stuff like not that I don't think you can handle it, but do you feel like you'll be able to compete at your highest level while you're in those kind of conditions?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The more pressure I'm under, the better I perform. I feel like, and I honestly and truly believe that when it comes down to fighting and anything, I'll have the mental edge on anybody I ever fight at any given time in my career. So,
why do you say that?
Guys are doing it, I'm gonna do it better than they're doing it.
Why do you feel like you'll have the mental edge? What is it about your preparation?
I'm just totally confident in my preparation. Like, I know how to cut the weight. I work hard. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning doing my work. From 4:30 to 10 o'clock at night, I'm working, doing something, coaching, training, teaching, doing something involving MMA. So I know the mental reps are there, the physical reps are there. My conditioning is always on point. My nutrition is always on point. I just don't see a whole lot of guys having a mental edge on top.
You know, you come from you were a national champion with Alabama. That comes with a spotlight in itself. Do you feel like spending those years like under the spotlight of playing NCAA Division I football that kind of gives you an advantage when it comes to the cameras in the face and like the pressure mounting and the crowds and all those different things? Do you feel like that you have an advantage in those situations?
Absolutely. It's not. It won't be the first time I've had a camera in my face. It's not the first time I've done an interview. It's not the first time I've been under pressure. My whole life has kind of been, me learning along the way how to deal with those things. And now I'm at the point where it doesn't affect me. It doesn't matter. Whatever. I'm ready for it. Like, adversity doesn't bother me too much. So even if I do get in a bad spot in the fight, mentally I've been there already. 'Cause I do a lot of, visualization type stuff, seeing the fight happen before it happens. And, so there's not a situation that I'm going to be in that I'm not going to be ready for.
What types of things have you visualized to this point when you sit down and you kind of play this through your head? Hello? Do we still have Eryk on the line?
Hey, sorry about that, Jason. What was that?
No, I said, what kind of outcomes have you visualized to this point in your head when you started thinking about this fight as it gets now that you've got it or you're waiting on the contracts? What have you seen this
how it going down?
Like I said, I saw him going down in less than 3 minutes with a knockout, not a TKO, but a knockout, unconscious. In this fight, victory for myself. The funny thing about the conversation is that I actually asked him like I think it was like a month ago. I had talked to him about when I had seen the stuff on Twitter. I had talked to him and I said to him like what he thought about your skill set, and he said almost word for word what you said. He said he's not athletic enough. Yeah. He's rigid in his stand up. Like I said, he's a little emotional. So whatever. What I speak is fact and truth. You know, he's probably just saying that just because there's no way that he can truly believe in his heart of hearts that he's going to knock me out.
Fair
you know,
enough.
maybe if you said he's going to submit me, you know, maybe he truly believes that, but there's no way that he believes that he's going to knock me out or even beat me in the first place.
Fair enough. Listen, man, I want to thank you for coming and spending some time with us today. And you're always available, and I really, really appreciate that, man. And I'm so glad to hear that this fight's going to happen. It's what I've been looking forward to for a while. So good luck in your preparation, man, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the cage.
I appreciate you having me on the show, man, anytime.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, Eryk, you have yourself a great night, man.
You have a good one, Jason.
All right, buddy. Later. Not bad.
Every time.
That was Eryk Anders, and he's definitely pumped up for a big fight with Brendan Allen. You've seen them two fight, man. What do you think about what he's saying?
Well, you were saying that Brendan Allen has the experience, but the revelation that we've had with the amateur fights, that's what, 23, you said?
Yeah.
When you have that football background, and that, like you said, that explosiveness, it's just like you see it. The guy like Matt Mitrione, the guy came in with a very little skill set. You know what I mean? Not very good, just heavy hands. But that explosiveness, that in and out,
Right,
gave him the ability to have a successful career. Now he's potentially going to fight. He's fighting Fedor. So I think in the future you're going to see a lot of football players come over. As soon as there's a little bit more money to be made, and maybe there's a union or whatever, you're going to see that's going to be a skill set like that. Like he's saying, he prepared his entire life for that quick, that short. I can't exactly
burst. Yeah, the short burst.
Yeah, that short area burst. So I think he has a good chance. After hearing that interview, I think he has a better chance than we previously thought. Maybe.
Yeah, I like his mindset, man. I do think that I still believe that Brendan is the more technical of the two. I believe his technique is stronger than Eryk's, but I also believe that Eryk has an athletic advantage.
For sure.
Like he said, I believe that. He's a powerful guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be interesting to see if technique can take out that level
he likes
power.
he likes to stay in that guard, so it'd be interesting to see how, because Allen's submission game's pretty solid, so it'd be interesting to see. It's a great matchup, classic MMA.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it, man. I don't know. The prediction's a hard one, man. I do feel like Brendan's really good. He's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Eryk's good too. They're both really good fighters.
When it comes to odds, I always tend to go into the direction of who has that explosive, anytime finishing power.
Yeah, but then, technique is so important. Even if we go back and you look at old fights like Brock versus Kane, and I'm not saying that Eryk Anders' skills aren't far superior to Brock's as far as martial art technique, because I think they are. But that was a similar kind of fight. That was a huge, really strong, really explosive ex-football player, wrestler. And Kane really had that solid technique. When Brock had his back, he broke.
He used the butterfly.
So technique is so important. If it's crisp, if it's like that. You look at Anderson, you look at all these guys that have utilized really strong technique. This is a fight I'm really looking forward to, and we want to thank everybody for joining us and listening in. And we're going to be back in a couple of minutes, and we're going to be talking to Brendan Allen so we can find out how he feels about everything Eryk Anders had to say about him getting knocked unconscious in under 3 minutes. Stiff and limp, I believe, were the words he used to describe the knockout.
Poor John Kirk.
Poor John Kirk. Yeah, they've definitely both made statements on John Kirk. But hey, he got 2 paychecks, so I'm sure he's not feeling too crappy about it, But anyway, we'll be back. We're gonna have Brendan Allen on the line. We're gonna find out what Brendan's got to say about all this. Tune in. It's gonna be good. All right, welcome back to the Fight House, everybody. We're having a few technical issues getting a hold of Brendan Allen. Hopefully he'll be able to join us soon. But we're going to be back in 2 minutes, and we were going to have Trevin Giles on the line to talk about what's going on with him, what's up next, what he's looking for, and it should be a good conversation. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Sorry about that, folks. Give us 1 minute.
And your third and final judge scores the bout. 29-28 for your winner by split decision, Trevin the Problem Giles.
It really could have gone either way, and Trevin Giles maintains his undefeated record.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Fight House, and we're here, and we got Trevin Giles as promised on the line. How you doing, Trevin? Welcome to the Fight House.
I'm very good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, man. Good. How's everything been, man? After you coming off a good win over Ryan Spann, how's everything been?
Everything's been pretty good. I've just been focused on the schoolwork I got going on right now, and getting ready to graduate soon in May 13th. So
Awesome.
yeah, everything's well.
Congratulations, man. And for all the people that don't know, let us know, man, what are you taking in university?
Right now I'm majoring in administration of justice. I'm majoring there, and then trying to get into law enforcement.
And we're going to get into that even too in a minute. But first, you know what? Something just came about in the last segment. We were talking with Eryk Anders. We had him on, and he caught me by surprise, man. He was saying that he's pretty much scheduled to.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Jason.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. We were on the phone with Eryk Anders, and he caught me by surprise, man. He said that he's got a fight. He's just waiting on the contract to fight Brendan Allen, and in all likelihood is going to be for the LFA middleweight title. And I, for one, and I think a lot of other people too, had you as in like a shoe-in to fight for that belt at 9-0, and you have a win over Brendan. Did they approach you with that, or what's going on there?
A lot of they've been kind of doing this. Well, Eryk Anders really has been kind of initiating the conversation with that inside of Twitter and everything. Mm-hmm. Right now, I've actually had. I've actually been pretty busy, so yeah, he's actually talked to me about it and mentioned me on Twitter and everything. But right now I'm focused on school and trying to get back into the group of things with training and everything. So I kind of put it off for that brief second. So right now, I mean, to me, I guess it makes sense that those guys are fighting right now. I mean, the world can't just wait for when I'm ready, So. I think that's cool.
With all the work that you've put in, is that something you'll be coming back for? Is that when you look at those guys, do you think like that's where I should be? That's my spot. Like I earned that spot. Is that something you have on your to-do list?
Can you repeat that for me?
I said, is it something you have on your to-do list to get that title? Like, do you have a feeling of like, hey, like that's my spot. Like I earned that spot. I'm 9-0. I finished Brendan. Like I'm clearly at the top of the heap. Do you have that feeling?
Well, yeah, I do think right now I already I really feel like the champion already, to be honest. Again, I think I've beaten everybody I need to have beaten. I think even me and Ryan Spann, I think that would have been a title match if Ryan Spann hadn't lost the fight before me. And really at that point, there was nobody else to fight other than Eryk Anders, who was coming in, just freshly coming into, LFA. So, I don't necessarily feel like that. Not saying that I don't want the title shot, because I would love to fight for a title. Having a title is great. There's no negative side to having a title, so sure. I'd really love that. But right now, to me, that I don't think the title makes me feel like more or less of a champion right now.
Well, what is it you're looking for? If not the title, like what does give you that feeling?
So right now, again, so my mind frame right now has just been, kind of taking everything a step at a time and, getting finished with school and everything. And, but really what I want to do is I just want to beat the top competition. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to say that I have beaten the best inside of, in whatever promotion I'm inside of. Again, that's not to say that I would not like a title shot or, the belt to actually show it, but that's all that is really to me. The belt is just a physical trophy that you can show saying, hey, this shows that I'm the best, so that's just what I think about it.
Something that sits on top of the mantle.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Now, you say you're graduating middle of May. You said May 13th, I think you said?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, I know that in May 23rd is the tough middleweight tryouts. 1 second, sorry. Sorry about that. Are you considering going out for the tough tryouts at the end of May?
I wouldn't say that just yet. I think I still need to kind of get in the groove of everything and get back into a steady training camp before I go and make any kind of big moves. I think the bad decision would be just trying to jump back into fighting right now, because I haven't been able to really get the training in like I'd like to. Putting in the hours in with school and everything else. So yeah, I think I just want to make sure that I'm getting my training and everything right. I've got some big opportunities though. Right now I'm very excited. I'm getting ready on Monday, getting ready to travel out to AKA and get to train with meet Cormier and train with those guys, everybody there. So I think that'll put me in a good place too. Getting to know some of those guys.
What takes you out to AKA? Is that through an affiliation? Is that through like a UFC affiliation, or just somebody you happen to know at the gym itself?
Well, I actually think that my coach Eryk, he was like real big into wrestling and everything. So he's in with the wrestling community and everything. So him and Cormier have actually met, and he's actually got his number. So we've been for some time now. We've been planning to go out there and train with him. We actually planned to do that 2 summers ago, but I ended up getting a little bit of an injury. So we're just finally making our way back around to it.
So I know the last time that we spoke anyway, you had said that it had to happen soon, the call from the UFC, or like you weren't content to just stay with the smaller promotions and work your way up, or do any more than you've already done. You had done a lot. How are you feeling now towards it, or is that still how you feel, or have you kind of stepped back and said like, okay, like I'm willing to stick around a little bit longer and see where this goes?
I still feel the same. I'm not really thinking about trying to. I'm not really considering putting away fighting altogether. But I'm more at the stage that I am in my life right now. I'm starting to get like a lot of opportunities. I will have a bunch of opportunities outside of fighting, especially when I graduate and everything. So I was just saying that my best chance of continuing my fighting career is basically to have a big opportunity presented in front of me. Mm-hmm. And that big opportunity does happen to be the UFC. Big opportunity is also being able to fight for a championship belt and everything. But I just want to be able to get the best opportunity that I have, whenever I graduate. So, I'd ideally like to have a fight soon after I graduate. That'd be ideal for me.
You're studying law enforcement now. Even a guy like Stipe Miocic, who's the heavyweight champion right now with the UFC, he's also a fireman outside of there. Is law enforcement something you will actively pursue regardless?
Oh yeah, that's going to happen regardless. Even if I go to the UFC and I get I get a fight, in between training camps or in between fights and stuff like that, I'll still go to the police academy, and I'd still actively pursue that. I want to be in law enforcement regardless.
What is it about law enforcement? What drew you to that field of when you could do just about anything?
Well, I like to have a sense of purpose, and I like to help people out. I think a lot of people get taken advantage of. Every day. Even with this stuff that's going on, and you've seen the whole Facebook deal with this guy killing another guy on Facebook Live, just coming up to him and shooting him. Yeah, a bunch of crazy stuff happens, and I think a lot of people kind of run away from that kind of thing. That's the reason why they don't want to be in law enforcement, because it's a lot of stuff that's it's dangerous, but somebody has to do it, and I feel like I have the capabilities of doing it, and I think that I could be a great contribution to the community.
That is great, man. That's a stand-up thing. Like you said, a lot of people right now, especially given the situation with the police in America and just the way they're being, the light that's being shone on them, and the way some people are perceiving them, it's definitely a rough job to do. So that's a stand-up thing, man. That you're willing to go out there and put yourself out there like that.
Yeah, man. I think that I think that's more of a reason for me to go. A lot of people don't see the police in the best light right now. because of some of the things that have happened recently.
Sure.
But I think that has to change. Somebody has to step forward and put their best foot forward and try to make a change and get back a positive relationship between, the people and police.
It's true. It's very true. Are you going to be able to keep up the same training habits? Will you be able to stay as dedicated to MMA once you decide to fully step into the law enforcement field? Is that something that you'll be able to donate the same amount of time to?
I don't see my dedication disappearing. I wouldn't say that. Now, if you're talking about, as far as, time constraints and everything that comes with law enforcement, I can't really determine that right now.
Sure.
I haven't seen the hours, or I'm sure there are going to be certain things that will try to get in my way, but it'll all be about my management, right? So I would just have to decide what's more important at that point, getting in the way.
Well, I'm sure you've pretty much mastered the time management skills, because you're going to university, and fighting professionally, I'm sure, isn't exactly an easy task.
Yeah. So that's something I've been juggling around. So I'd like to think I have a little bit of practice with being able to prioritize and still be fighting.
And just sliding back to the fighting, you've been on the radar for both Brendan Allen and Eryk Anders. Brendan Allen is not shy about the fact that he absolutely 100% wants that rematch with you after the loss. He's every time I talk to him, that's what he's looking for. Pretty well every time. Yeah. Eryk Anders is kind of the newcomer on the scene. He's a guy, he comes with a bit of hype because of his football history, his experience with football. Which guy would you prefer to face? Would you rather the rematch or the fresh face? What would be your preference?
You know what? It's kind of hard to say. I got to see both of their point of views over Twitter. They were kind of going back and forth with each other, and they both made some valid points. It's hard to say. I know Brendan Allen. He's a guy's a competitor.
Sure.
I like the way he fights. Even I watch his fights myself, and anytime I see he has a fight coming up, I'm excited to see that. And then I like the guy. And I know Eryk Anders. He's coming in. He's trying to make noise. He's trying to do what he can do to get the big fights. And he is undefeated. But there's a case for either or. I guess it's just hard to say. I would have to. I don't think I can answer that. I don't know.
Let me ask you this one, man. Who do you think wins that fight? You had a chance to see Eryk Anders. You've been in the cage with Brendan Allen. Who do you think wins that fight when they walk out? Because they're both fairly confident that they're both leaving with a W, which I guess they should be.
Yeah, I would say I'd say Brendan Allen, hands down.
Hands down. You think it'll be an easy night of work for him?
Yeah, I don't think that it's not that Eryk Anders doesn't have talent. He's an athlete. A guy came from football. He's got some explosiveness. He's going to be tough. I'm sure he has some mental toughness too. But I don't think that his rhythm and he just doesn't have the experience to pull off this fight. And then, again, it's going to depend on a bunch of other things, how their training camp goes and everything.
Sure.
But as far as what I've seen on Eryk Anders' film, and as far as what I've experienced with Brendan, I'd have to give that to Brendan for sure. I'd go with Brendan for sure.
The one thing about Anders though that slips, and I kind of felt the same way about you, the way you feel about the breakdown, just the skill level of Brendan Allen, the technique from a technique point of view. But I didn't know. Did you know that Eryk Anders had 23 amateur fights?
I did not know that. That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. I had no idea that he had that much experience. He hasn't been in the sport long, but he's been extremely active. And it kind of blew my mind because I thought Brendan Allen, hands down, had 13 amateur fights plus his 8 professional fights, had a lot more experience, but it's not the case, apparently.
That's I had no idea he had that much experience. And usually I feel like I'm pretty good with I'd have to imagine he kind of took those fights back to back, but I'm not sure how much he's really learning from it though, as far as what I'm watching on, film and stuff like that. Right. He looks powerful. He dropped a couple of people with his, I think it's a left cross that he throws. So the guy hits hard. He has capability, but I don't think that his experience shows while he's fighting, though. I didn't know that he had 23 amateur fights, and I would never guess that.
No, me
Not
either.
to, talk bad on him or anything, but, just my honest opinion.
Yeah, no, I you know what? It caught me by surprise too, man. Absolutely, because I thought he was just coming in with like raw athletic ability and kind of like pushing his way through the field based on that. So it kind of caught me by surprise as well. Is it something that you're going to shoot for? Like you said, you want to fight pretty soon after after your graduation. With those two, if those two end up fighting in June, because that's what Anders was saying, he said it's probably going to be scheduled for June. Will you take another fight? Is there another fight that even makes sense for you, really? From an LFA perspective?
Another fight other than those two guys? I guess we'll see whatever presents itself, Again, I'd like to, get back into it and everything. Again, I'm getting ready to go and train with some of the top guys in the UFC right
Absolutely.
now. So hopefully I can get a good UFC shot, getting my foot in the door with those guys. So either the UFC, I do see myself going to the UFC and having a fight before the summer ends.
Do you feel like you'll be ready? Like, because you said like you're training at everything, you want to get back into the rhythm. So you obviously haven't been like training as you normally would with school and everything winding down. Will you be prepared for a last minute fight if one should pose itself? Will you be in a good place to take that fight?
A last minute for
the UFC.
UFC?
Yeah, like saying that you're in school, you're graduating, and you're looking to get back in the rhythm of training and stuff. I was saying like, do you feel like right now you're in a good place to take a last minute fight if one should present itself like shortly after the graduation, or will you want to get more training in?
You know what? I always feel like it kind of depends. I've actually had right after Ryan Spann, I fought Ryan Spann, and they had I think I had Bellator call me and ask me to do a last minute fight with Lovato.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm talking 3 days notice. All right, so I guess 2 days to get there. Yeah. Well, 4 days notice, 2 days to cut weight, and then a day of weigh-ins, and then the fight. All right, so I think that kind of thing depends, right? And had it been somebody else, maybe I might have went ahead and did it. But I feel like you have to be smart with those decisions. Like you have to be realistic.
Sure.
So
that's a big mountain to climb. Depends. That's a big mountain to climb on 4 days' notice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a talented ground artist, that's for sure. You know, speaking of that, would Bellator even would that be an option for you, or are you kind of hard set on the UFC?
Yeah, I think Bellator is a great promotion. Everything. I really like all these promotions. I like the LFA. I like Bellator. All the stuff. Obviously, as fighters, we want to get more exposure. Obviously, we all want to get more money and the top fights and stuff like that. So if I had to base it off of that, obviously I'd want the UFC, and really my sights are set on the UFC. It's been that way for a couple of fights now. You'll see me mention after like the past 3 fights, that I'm trying to go to the UFC, and I always mention the UFC. So that's my big goal right now. And I feel like it's really, right now, it's feeling like it's in the near future.
It seems like you're on the horizon heading to AKA. You're definitely headed in the right direction. So it seems like that's right on the horizon for you. And congratulations for that, man. It's a good to see you. You got that, because I know it was frustrating for you near the end there. I know we had spoke a couple times just about how much you had done. Like you had finished every opponent before Ryan Spann, and still like you hadn't got that call. So it's good to see that that's finally starting to break for you. Quickly before we close out here. Speaking of Ryan Spann, I don't know if you've heard, but like he is adamant that he won that fight, and he believes that the judging was wrong. Like, how did you feel about that fight?
I don't. You know what? When I look at that fight, I'll be honest and say I can see how he would have the feeling that he won.
Right.
But immediately after the fight. But if you look back at the tape and if you think about the fight over, and you see what was going on and who was being effective and everything, I think. To me, I think for sure it's a split decision. I think the judges made the right decision. I damaged him. I was putting hands on the guy, right? And then he didn't have much success standing up or anything. And then he got to the point where he was just shooting for takedown. And then I think he was successful on the hip toss, and then he got close with a choke.
How close was he with that?
And what's that?
How close was he with that, with the choke?
Oh, it was a very tight choke. For a second, I didn't know if I'd be able to get out of it. So I was in a really tough situation right there. Thank God I was able to use my sensitivity to find the opening on that, because I mean he had everything where he needed. I think if it had his ankles locked under my hips or something, that'd have been really bad for me. That'd have been tough to get out of.
You know, man, I will say this. For all your skills that you have, and you have a ton of skill, the one that's leaped out to me when I watched all your fights was your ability to persevere. You've been in trouble in numerous fights. Like, that's not the first time that you've ended up in trouble early and come back to win a fight. Do you feel like that's one of your qualities that kind of separates you from everybody else? Is just your ability to persevere through those situations?
Yeah, for sure. I think I come with a certain attitude. I know when I come into a fight, you have to finish me. You have to, and you can't get close. And then, I think a lot of these guys when they get behind me for a choke, or they drop me or something like that, I feel like they think at that point they feel like the fight's getting ready to be over. It's getting ready to be over, right? Like they can see the win coming, and then I get back up, or I keep moving, or I keep fighting, and then after that, I think that kind of breaks them. I think after that point, I don't think they believe they can win anymore, because they've done what they could.
And kind of like steal their heart, kind of.
Yeah. So I definitely think that plays a role in it. My perseverance, because you have to put me away. I have to not be able to move, and you have to put me to sleep. To beat me like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're super composed. I'll give you that. That's like the one thing that just leaped right out at me when I was watching them, was just how composed you are in those situations. One last thing about the Spann thing though. In round one, do you feel like when he had your back I think for like 3 minutes or something, maybe a little bit more the first round. Do you think it was kind of like his lack of activity that allowed you to steal the round? Because I rewatched the fight after I spoke to him, and he was like, "No, like I won that fight." I rewatched the fight. And I was like, because I had given it to you too, and I had said to him, like, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I'd have to go back and watch it, because I kind of watched it as a fan. I didn't really watch it analytically to like break it down or anything like that. But I think the difference was that he just wasn't active. Like, he was just looking for his choke, but he didn't really do anything from the back besides like hold the position. And you flurried for like the last minute and 10, I think it was, something like that. You had like landed some nice ground and pound, like you were kind of all over him. Do you feel like it was his lack of activity that allowed you to like steal that?
Yeah, no, for sure. More than anything, it was. So how I saw the fight was, again, and I said the same thing after the fight on the post-fight interview, is that I think I was just more active. He was in there trying to control positions, and I think that he was really worried. I honestly feel like he was worried about being finished. He was worried about me landing a big punch on him. I'm sure he's seen my film and stuff, and I end up dropping guys with an uppercut or whatever, right? And I end up getting the upper hand there. And I think that he was being very careful and trying to stay on the outside, or he was trying to be all the way in. But either way, all he was doing was either he was leaning on me for a takedown, or even, if it was on my back, he was just holding the position, and he couldn't do anything. He didn't damage me. He didn't get close to anything else. It's like he didn't really have the answer. Even when he was in on takedowns, he had no answer. He had nothing. He didn't know what to do.
True.
So he was just sitting there. Even when he had me against the cage, he'd be pushing me against the cage, and then he's kind of just sitting there hoping to get a takedown. And I'm throwing these little shots, and I'm still being active on the inside, right, while he's kind of just winning. So it's a fight at the end of the day. It's not wrestling. It's not anything else. It's about who's being more effective. So if you're not being more effective, you're probably going to lose.
True. Well, listen, man, I really want to thank you for taking some time to talk with us, man. I always enjoy the conversation with you, and I wish you good luck. I hope we get to see you, man. I hope you get your UFC shot. I hope we get to see you in the octagon. And, yeah, man, thanks again for giving us some of your time.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Talk to you later on. Have a good night.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Good night.
Well, that was Trevin Giles. It's probably the top of all the middleweight prospects, but kind of like the most quiet about it. He's an interesting character, man. What did you think about what he had to say?
Oh, I see. Pretty clever guy. He's setting up a second career here. Jason's also fighting off a cold.
Oh my God, I'm coughing my lungs out
That's
here.
what happens when you have two little ones running around at home.
Yeah, I'm trying my hardest here not to cough. It was just a nasty itch in my throat. But sorry about that, everybody.
It's all right. He seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's got it, and then also like he's talking about making sure that he doesn't take a fight on short notice because he understands what he's built and he understands that he has his second career as well, so he can take his time and really pick his fight and make sure that he makes the right one. He wants to go to the UFC. I mean, as much as we want to talk about Bellator being on par with the UFC as far as maybe pay, there's still that prestige of the UFC that these fighters just seem like they're just dead set on fighting on the a UFC card.
The one thing though that I do question about him is just like his willingness to like just go for the mixed martial arts career. Like he wants to, and I feel like you could swing it on certain levels, but maybe like in the UFC. I mean, I guess Stipe does it. I mean,
yeah.
Who's to say? But I just always get a little leery when I see guys and they're not 100% devoted to mixed martial arts.
I think a lot of these guys aren't university graduates either.
Absolutely, no, 100%.
It comes with, I think, understanding. There's not many guys that go lock themselves in a cage and weigh odds at the same time. A lot of guys that lock themselves in the cage, they just go for it, like you're saying.
Absolutely.
But this isn't one of those guys. So he's doing it smart. He's going to AKA, probably the best place in the world to go. He's going to learn. He's going to take his time. And like you said earlier, if he can balance the university and the fighting, I don't think the police academy and fighting will be much different. Maybe traveling, but yeah, I think he'll be able to manage. He's a great fighter, so he can also wait for and also can just wait for the winner of the.
Man, who would you rather like to see him fight, man? Brendan Allen for a second time or Eryk Anders for the first time?
I'd rather go with Eryk Anders. You can always rematch after with Brendan Allen. I like to give the fresh face a chance, and he has the football background. You can market that, and even if he doesn't perform as well as we think, at least you have something to market before the fight.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it from Tristan Keddy, and we're going to be right back. Everyone hold the line. We're going to try to get Brendan Allen back on the line, so hopefully we can do that, and we'll be back in a few moments. Stay tuned in.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee Myron Godet calls a stop to the fight. 2 minutes, 46 seconds into the very first round for your winner by TKO, Brendan Allen.
All right, welcome back to the Fight House. We're live on the line with Brendan Allen. How's it going, Brendan? Thanks for joining us here at the Fight House, bud.
Hey, man, it's going good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Good. Listen, man, some stuff happened today. We had Eryk Anders on the line first, and he dropped some news that it looks like you and him have a date at some point in the near future. He said he's just waiting on the contracts to get signed, and everything should be a go. It was obviously big news for us.
That's what I hear.
That's what you hear too, eh? I like.
Yeah.
Well, man, I guess we got to get right into that. Then, how do you feel? He said he's not sure if it's a title fight or what the deal is, but he said he says as long as you're willing to sign the contract, he will definitely be signing the contract as soon as it gets to him. So, how do you feel about that fight?
I'm surprised he's going to sign the contract, man.
But I'll tell you this. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just surprised he's willing to step up and not fight a can. So we'll see.
What makes you say this?
I mean, the man's been padding his record. I mean, he's openly admitted before in his first couple interviews as a pro. So, I've never padded my record. I've always asked for the best fights, the hardest fights, and I tried to get a harder one, but this is what I was offered, and I don't turn down fights. I'll fight anybody. So. When
you say harder one, what is it about him that you feel like there is better competition for you out there?
He's not well-rounded enough. Everyone says he's an athlete just because he played college football. I mean, the dude's 28, I guess, somewhere in his late 20s and still living off of his college football career. So, there's nothing special about him. Everyone says he has a big left hand, and he swears by his left hand, but he's never knocked anyone out cold. So they've been TKOs. Trevin's TKO people too, but they don't say, oh, he's the hardest puncher in the division or anything like that. So, his jiu-jitsu's maybe average blue, maybe a beginner purple, His wrestling isn't good at all. He just relies on strength, and he hasn't fought anyone that knows how to use leverage or is strong at all. So, there's nothing there that's comparable. So I just show what I have to. So everyone can say what they want about just going off a fight, but I compete at the level that I need to win, not to show everyone all my tools.
Well, you guys have one common opponent in John Kirk, and both you finished him in the first round. Do you feel like there was any reason like yours was just more impressive overall? Like you left him in a bloody heap in the middle of the floor. That was a crazy performance, by the way, amazing performance.
Thank you.
Do you feel like there was any comparison to be made there? Like I know the MMA math doesn't always work, but that is the one common opponent that you two seem to have. Were you impressed at all with his performance?
Not at all, man. The dude should have been on a medical suspension, and I cut him all the way to the skull. I mean, super nice guy. When I went back to talk to him and make sure he was okay after the fight, man, you could see the white of his skull.
Wow.
I mean, I don't see how they let him fight like that, not even a month later. But, I mean, that's not my call. I mean, the guy took the fight on 12 days' notice, and I know that because they called and asked me, but my coach was out of town in Iowa, so it was really, really expensive to fly him in. I still tried to take it, but they just couldn't fly him in because of how much the plane ticket cost.
Fair enough.
So, the guy took it on 12 days' notice, wasn't even training for him or nothing, and he beat him. It took him a minute, 36 seconds, or something like that.
Yeah.
I had him beat in a minute and let it go. I had a guillotine that was tight as could be, and we both knew it. He even told me after the fight. I let it go. I wanted to put on a show, So he doesn't impress me, man. You can watch all his fights. I mean, I know him because I trained with one of his training partners before that I'm actually pretty good friends with. So I know who he is. I've seen him in person before. Didn't say a word to me other than what's up. There's nothing different between his fights, though. Only thing you can see in difference between his fights as a pro is between his last fight and his other one is he's lighter on his feet. All the rest of his stuff is exactly the same. Still throws the same combinations, looks for the same things. Nothing's different. So, he can say he's going to change all he wants, but you can't really change too much technique or add too much to your game in a month or so. So,
when we talk to him,
it is what it is.
He says he swears that within 3 minutes he's going to render you completely unconscious. He said that if you think
that's good to know, as he's never done it to anybody before, and I've taken some of the biggest. I've took Trevin's hardest punches with my head flat on the mat. So, I'll be there for him to do it. I can promise you that. There's not going to be no quitting me. If we can stand in the middle and throw it out or whatever, I don't back up. I don't know how to back up. Only way you'll see me back up is a circle to reset myself. You can watch every single fight that I've ever had in my whole amateur and pro career. I've never backed up, and he'll see that come fight night, and he can talk all he wants about who he's going to put to sleep, but we'll find out.
I'll tell you this. I've brought when you guys first had your first exchange on Twitter. Maybe that's probably about a month ago.
Yeah, right after he fought.
Yeah, roughly about a month ago, and I had talked to it about a couple other. I asked Ryan Spann what he thought about it. And I just had Trevin Giles on the show just before you, and I had a chance to ask him too. And both those guys feel like you're going to finish that fight, and it's going to be relatively easy for you. Ryan Spann, I believe the language he used was Brendan will eat his lunch, and Trevin said that he expects that you take it fairly easily. Is that a surprise to you that those guys would feel that way?
No, man. I mean, we're top guys. Me and Trevin have felt each other. Trevin felt me at the beginning of the fight, and I faded away a little bit, but, he was the better man that night. But we felt each other. We felt other guys. We know where we stack up. We can see where we're getting better every fight. We're just some of the top middleweights in the world, and this guy's everyone blows him up because he's a college football player. It goes back to the fact that he's still living off of college days, man. It's time to move on past that. But, at some point, it's not his fault that people use that to sell tickets and stuff. At some point, it's not his fault. But when you still live off of it in interviews and, I did this, I did that, it's time to move on past that and make your name in this sport without anything else. I mean, one of my best friends is a 2-time national champion from LSU. And you can ask him questions about football all day, and he'll tell you 2 totally different things. What he did in that sport is totally different than what he's done in this sport. So, I don't find any surprise to what people are going to think. I mean, I'm hoping I come in as the betting odds underdog so I can make some money.
Throw a little. You're gonna Pete Rose it. Throw a little money down on yourself. I like it.
Yeah, I know a couple people that throw some money down too. Where I can get a little bit of that too. So
nice.
I'm hoping so.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with making a few extra ends where you can, right?
Right, exactly.
I guess I should ask you, how do you feel? How do you see yourself matching up with him? Like how do you see the fight going? How do you visualize this going?
Man, I have a view that I think is going to go perfect in my head. He's going to come out hard, come right circling, making me circle to the left or to his left, and we got a couple tricks up our sleeve for that. If not, and he wants to change it up and stay on the outside and kind of pick a shot, that's great. I'm way longer than him, but I'm really excited for the clinch part because I know it's going to happen. I'm not going to back up, or I'm going to tag him and he's going to rush in like he always does when he feels uncomfortable, and he's going to learn that he's not as strong as he thinks he is. So that's what I'm most excited for. And obviously, if he ends up on top in a situation, he's never faced someone with the jiu-jitsu that I have, and he's going to know when I get on top that it's a totally different ball game. So, I'm excited for everything. I know it's going to end up in a clinch. I know it's going to end up on the ground because I know how flustered he gets. But if he doesn't get flustered and wants to stay on the feet the whole time, that's fine. Let's do it. I don't shoot. Like, it's rare if I shoot in my fights. Usually the only way I shoot is if you close the distance super fast and are out of control. Other than that, people get tagged and they go for sloppy shots. Is how my fights go. So I'm fine with it either way. I'm not scared of that left whatsoever. That's his only weapon standing up, and I have way more. So, man, I'm not worried one bit. I'm ready to go, man. I can make weight in 2 weeks and be ready to go. So,
the one thing that really surprised me about what you just said is about the clinch. Like that would, to me, I would think that's probably where he would be at one of his strongest areas. Is that an attempt to like steal his heart in the fight, like to steal his mind and kind of his heart to attack him in one of his strengths like that?
Oh man, it's crazy. I'm a long guy for the weight class,
Okay.
But I'm at home, and I always have been at home when we're in the clinch. I've gotten better since I trained with Rich. My games went to a totally different level, and yes, I break guys in there. It's something people don't like when they feel the technique and the fluidity that I bring to the table, and when I know what to throw when it's supposed to be thrown. These guys just think they know what to throw, or they force it and it doesn't land. I throw what is supposed to be thrown and not what I want to throw. So the fluidity is going to be totally different. I know who's at his gym. I know who he trains with. I'm not worried whatsoever, man. He doesn't possess anything that's scaring me. I'm not worried about the two, but I'm going to lower the chances of him hitting me with the two with a couple tricks we got up our sleeve. So
I can't wait to see what those
the name
are.
of the game is not to get hit. So
true story. The one thing when I look at this fight and I think about it and I try to honestly assess it, I was like, he's a very athletic guy. He is explosive and powerful, but I do think that and you just pointed note to it, is your technique. I think that's going to that's where he will run into most of his problems. Do you feel like it's in those areas where you're technically sound that he's going to find the most trouble?
Yeah, man. I mean, most people don't get to see my feet. They don't get to see me stand or anything like that. So that's fine, man. Like, it's there. I don't have to show it. If usually I'm grazing somebody and they're going for a takedown. So I've never even landed flush. So if I land flush, that's going to be different.
Sorry, you're kind of breaking up on me there.
I think my technique's going to play a hell of a role, man. I really do. I'm not gonna go in there and try to show off or do whatever until I feel he's broke, because he's going to break, man. That's just his mentality. Every guy that is like him, that hasn't fought anybody and hasn't been tested, when they can't do what they want and they get flustered in fights against cans, they're going to get flustered against a guy that knows what they're doing. That's been in there, that's been under the spotlight, that's had those tough fights, that's been tested. He's going to get flustered, and when he does, there's going to be a capitalization there that he's not going to know what's going to happen. And when that happens, he's going to break. He can say what he wants, but he knows in his heart he's going to break.
At 21, you're 21 now, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The one thing I notice when people have the youth that you have going for you right now, you have a lot of experience for a 21-year-old, first of all. But second of all is the growth. There's huge growth that takes place in between fights, like in a short amount of time. Even in like 3-4 months, you'll just see like a massive growth and development. Where do you feel like you've developed the most since your last performance? Like, where do you feel like that growth has taken place the most?
Like, do you mean as far as physically or technically? Like, far as
or both, or both. I
physical?
was speaking more technically speaking, like in your skill set, but answer for both if you would like.
Honestly, man, physically, I'm still getting bigger. Like, I'm still young. I got a different build than a lot of guys. I have real dense bones, so my weight comes from there. So sometimes I don't look as muscular as some of the other guys. But people don't realize how strong I am until they grab me, just from how I was raised and, the people that I've always tussled with when I was younger. It's just kind of like that country strong. We call it man strength. So it's I somehow, some reason, I got that from my dad, and I possess that, and it's great to have. But as far as technically, just focusing a lot on just tuning up some little things the subtleties of things. So, far as like little transitions on the ground that I should be placing my knee or elbow here instead of where I've been placing it, just to make the transition a lot smoother and a lot more sound when I get on top or when I get on bottom. I work a lot on bottom because my top's really solid. So I work a lot on bottom and back positions and getting out and sweeping and getting back to position. Say if I get hurt or things like that, I try to train for the worst position in the worst scenarios. That way, when it happens, it's not a surprise to me. And then as far as my feet, man, it's just tightening up the two. Everything else is there. It's just getting the footwork down and making sure the two's there. Because I tend to, like, I watch every fight that I have, and I watch every training session that I have, and I pick out. I criticize myself more than anyone can, and criticize things that people don't see. Just because when I do get to the high level, or if I do get to the high level, these guys are going to be studying me every day of every second. And so I want to criticize myself and fix those holes before they can expose them. So the big hole in my game before was extending on my two, making my head come over the knee. So we focused a lot on just keeping the hips underneath and following through. So there's more combos to be thrown, and it just makes it a lot smoother.
When I heard about the fight from Eryk, I was like, wow, because I was under the impression that you were going to be taking the tough tryouts at the end of May. I think they're May 23rd or something like that. Are you still doing that? Or are you?
Yeah, I'm still going to go try out May 23rd. Me and my wife are going to go out there and have a good time. I'm going to do my best. Do what I can do and see what happens. They told me I could still go try out, so I booked my plane ticket, got my hotel ready to go, and I'm going to go out there and give it 100%.
Sweet.
Put it all on the line and see what happens. It's an opportunity that, somebody doesn't want to pass up.
Absolutely. One of the things, what's more important to you, the LFA, winning the LFA title or getting a shot in the house, in the tough house? Because in likelihood, you're going to make the UFC regardless. That's my personal feeling on it. You're too young, you have too much experience at your age, and there's just way too much upside to you for that not to be a reality. That's how I feel about it. But what's more important to you right now, winning a title or getting into the tough house?
Oh, man, I love LFA. I love fighting for LFA. So the title is going to be amazing. But at the end of the day, if I'm afforded that opportunity, I don't think it's something that I can pass up because it's kind of taking fate into my own hands. And I don't like leaving my fate to other people. So I don't – honestly, man, I've been thinking about that, kind of every day. I've talked to my family and my coach, and, I don't know. We're just going to go out there and take it a step at a time. Either way, both great opportunities, and I'm very thankful to have both opportunities. It's been a long distance between fights for me that I'm not used to. Usually I'm fighting every other month or so. So, but either way, like I said, I'm just blessed to be in the position that I am, and the hard work's finally paying off. And like you said, I am young, but man, I've put a lot of time and effort into this game, and my family's given me a lot of opportunities that otherwise I wouldn't be able to have without them. So.
Yeah, you definitely got two big ones ahead of you right now, man, and I want to wish you all the luck in those, and I want to thank you for giving us some time here at the Fight House, man. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad we were able to work through our technical difficulties there and get in touch with you and have this conversation. Thanks again, Brennan. It's always a good time talking with you, and hopefully we can have you back on the show.
No doubt, man. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, man. Take it easy.
Absolutely, man. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that was Brennan Allen addressing some of the comments made by Eryk Anders earlier in the show. I tell you, these two guys, I won't say they don't like each other, but there is definitely like an animosity there, and I think it's gonna translate into an excellent fight. I think.
Sure, I think Brennan, he feels disrespected in the fact that he thinks that he's comparing his skill set to everybody's just saying, oh, he's a football player. What the hell is that? In his mind, he must be thinking, what the hell does that mean? I mean, I've been training day in and day out, 50 different disciplines to try to figure this thing out, and he's going to come in because he knows how to,
play football,
sack the quarterback. Come on, So after that conversation, I think I might have swayed back to Brennan. It sounds confident.
The thing about him is like I said, there's so much upside to him. He's 21 years old. Like Eryk Anders is 29, I think, something to that effect.
Yeah.
Brennan's he's young. The growth that you're going to see between what we saw against John Kirk and what we see. Not that there was a lot to see against John Kirk. He pretty much came out, beat the brakes off John Kirk, and called it a day. But the growth is going to be almost unrecognizable. I think.
Yeah.
He's going to look incredible.
I'm excited.
I am excited. This one, I've been since the first time, and it was so funny. All three guys that we had on the show tonight were all talking a bit of smack on Twitter. Well, they weren't. Trevin Giles doesn't talk smack. He's just not that guy.
Yeah.
It's not who he is. He's just a very humble, very relaxed, hey, cool, man, whatever. If you guys want to fight, let's do it kind of attitude. But they were chirping each other, man, and both of them were jockeying for that fight. So I'm so happy. I've kind of hoped that this would pan out this way, and I'm kind of glad it did, because I want to see Trevin get a shot at the UFC too. The guy's 9-0 with 8 finishes.
Yeah.
So I want to see that guy get his shot.
Sure.
He's earned it. He's fought a lot of tough dudes. Brendan Allen, Ryan Spann. The list goes on. He's fought a lot of tough guys. So we hope Trevin gets his shot, and I cannot wait to see Eryk Anders and Brendan Allen go at it. And I'm so happy that it's such a great thing that they were able to talk about it for the first time on our show. Here on the Fight House. So it's always good.
I'm excited to see those tough tryouts too.
Or
at least see if they make it through.
Yeah, man. There's gonna be a few guys from the LFA middleweight division there, so it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. Awesome. So listen, we want to thank everyone for tuning in for episode 4 of the Fight House. We'll be back next week with some more guests. We'll be talking some more MMA. Thanks for coming out. From Jason Sutcliffe,
Tristan Keddy.
talk to you later.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.